You are listening to Productivity Straight Talk with your host, Amber De La Garza. Amber is a sought-after productivity coach, trainer, speaker, and writer who gives entrepreneurs the straight talk on personal productivity. No BS, fluff, or overused jargon. Just actionable strategies to get results and succeed in business. And here is your host, Amber De La Garza, the Productivity Specialist.
Welcome, and thank you for listening to Productivity Straight Talk. Today's episode 181. It's a matter of respect. If you're a business owner who wants to improve your time management and elevate your productivity so you can maximize profits, reduce stress, and make time for what matters most, then you're in the right place, and I'm so glad you've joined me. Today's episode is, I'm going to tell you, me sharing some real life examples, behind the scenes text messages of conversations that I have had with people in my life about holding the boundary of respecting my time. And I'm also going to share with you the importance of respecting your own time so that you can require others to respect your time. If you currently have a hard time respecting your own time or knowing what that looks like and feels like for you so that you can be your most successful self, both personally and professionally, then I would love for you to check out Leverage Lab. Leverage Lab is my group coaching, training, and accountability experience. And inside Leverage Lab, this is just one topic that you will find inside Leverage Lab. Inside Leverage Lab, I teach my Stop Leverage formula. And inside the Stop Leverage formula, we have 4 pillars. And one of the pillars is all about time, how to leverage your time. So if you're interested in taking your time management and productivity and business to the next level, I invite you to check out Leverage Lab. You can do so by going to amberdelagarza.com/leverage lab. And now, let's get to the straight talk. I want to share with you a few specific examples that happened to me recently, kind of back to back, that made me think this would be a great example to share on the podcast. And a great example to share because I think that there's a lot of lessons here. And honestly, I don't think that everyone handles the same situation the same way for various reasons. And I'm just going to share with you how I have handled those situations, and maybe that feels right for you. For me, one of the things that matters most is that others respect my time. And time is so valuable to me, right? And that's why I believe it's so important that others respect it. And I also know that if I don't first respect my own time, I'm not leading by example for others to respect my time. These examples blew my mind, and I got some good laughs out of them because I could see it from a different perspective as a time management and productivity coach. But I think the experiences I'm going to share with you will ring true for you as well. In this first story I'm going to share with you, I'm going to tell you how I reclaimed 2+ hours back with a 2-sentence email. This last week, I got an email, which was a seemingly great email that said, "Congratulations, we settled your case." I was in a personal injury lawsuit from an accident that someone hit me 2 years ago. And so right 3 days before we were hitting it needs to go to litigation, we were able to settle. All great news. But the email continues and says, "So please come and pick up your check on Thursday," which was the day after Veterans Day, and I'm getting this email on Tuesday. And I saw that, and I thought to myself, are you kidding me? I already have my whole day planned with client appointments, and I'm working. That was my first thought. My second thought was, my son's being homeschooled. We have to stay home for him to be online for class. Probably not going to work out. And then third, I was like, that's 2 hours. It takes 45 minutes to drive there, pick up a check, and 45 minutes back. So all of that was rapidly going through my head. And I sent an email back and I said, "That's great news. Thank you so much for letting me know. Please mail me my check." And not 5 minutes after that email went out, I get a phone call on my phone from a paralegal that was urgently needing to talk to me, speaking quite rapidly, like there was a real issue. And I was like, yes, this is Amber. She's like, oh, I needed to call you because I need to let you know that the check with the numbers that we gave you are not going to be right because now we have to certify mail you the check. We can't just put it in the mailbox. And so I need to get your permission to deduct the certified mailing from your amount that we're going to be cutting you. Now, that's a whole nother story because I had actually got the payout already and saw that they charged me $250 for copies at a quarter each. And I don't know what day and age this is. There's no way they actually printed 250 copies. But I thought they need their $64. I'll give them their $64. Not a big deal. So in my head, I'm like, all right, another cheap shot charge. I just want this to be behind me. I just want to end it. So I asked her, well, how much is it? And she said 70. Or that's what I heard. 70. And all of those things were going through my head. I was thinking how they charged me $64 for copies at a quarter each. And like there was other random charges outside of the money they actually charged to settle the case. And I said, okay, send it. To me, $70 was an overwhelming bargain to get 2 hours plus gas and to make sure I could show up to my appointments for the day and that my son could be at school. So fine, I'll pay $70. And I said, can you please tell me what the adjusted amount will be so I can make sure the check is correct when I get it? And I said, she told me, and I was like, hold on. How much is the certified mail? And she's like, oh, to be specific, it's $6.90. And I'm like, yes, send the check. Thank you. Have a good day. And I thought that it was so interesting that it wasn't even a thought in her mind to offer that, to say, for your convenience, would you like it to be mailed or would you like to come down and pick it up? You see, not everyone values their time the same as perhaps you do, or maybe even you should. So I would tell you, always look at it as, is that worth your time? Even when it's outside of business, even when it seems seemingly not a big deal or out of the norm. And I'm not certain that most people would question their attorneys. But I'm also the person that demands my doctor to call if they're running behind to reschedule my appointment because I am not going to be spending my time at a regular doctor's visit because they can't manage their schedule correctly. And yes, I've actually had that conversation that says, I'm not okay with sitting in your reception area for an hour and a half. My appointment was at whatever time, 2:00. Here's another example. And I'm going to actually read you the text verbatim from our grooming company that comes and grooms my dogs. So at 1:15, I get a text that says, we are early. We got done with our previous client. Can we come? Now, at that time, I was on a call, probably with a client, and so I didn't see the message. And I got the message probably about 20 minutes prior to our scheduled appointment that I knew I would be available, that I would not have any other calls so that I wasn't interrupted, letting the dogs in and out and paying the groomers. I scheduled that purposely on my schedule so that, one, I wasn't being disrespectful to anyone I was in a meeting with, and I wasn't being disrespectful to them because I was accessible to do what it is I needed to do, part of this agreement. So I said, yes, you can come over anytime after right now. I just got your message. And then my appointment was at 3:00. I get a text about 15 minutes later, which is now 4 minutes before our appointment at 3:00. And it says, hello, unfortunately, we're running a bit behind today. My response, behind? I got a text you were running ahead. I'm confused. Yes, that was a couple hours ago prior, and we took another appointment that needs a little extra TLC. And my response was, what is the new ETA? About 45 minutes out, will that work for you? And here's where I had to sit for a few minutes. Actually, let's see, how long did I sit for? So I sat on that for about 10 minutes because I was like, I need to probably edit how I want to answer this. So I did. And here's what I said. Because this is a boundary, right? Like they're just assuming that that's okay when they made the decision to take another client in and skip my 3:00 appointment, which I was available for. It was on my calendar. They had already made it with me. They chose as a business owner to call someone else or move somebody else in. And now that mismanaged time pushed my appointment out 45 minutes, which is an assumption that I would have been okay with it. And that if I'm not okay with it, now my dogs had to go without being groomed, which they really needed. And this was an appointment that I had had the last time they came 8 weeks ago. So here's my response. Not ideal. I have a work call I need to be on from 4 to 6 p.m. that I'll have to excuse myself 4 times now. I have 2 dogs. I'm guessing another appointment was squeezed in since you were early, and now an hour late to my appointment. I need to keep it because my dog needs grooming badly, but please do not do this again in the future. So I share that text with you because I needed to know that I had to tell them how I felt about my time being disrespected. And if they want to continue doing business with me, they needed to know that I'm not someone they can just move and push or disregard an appointment time they had with me. So I did take it and I did address it with them when they showed up. And again, people will treat you the way you allow them to treat you. Meaning, 2 choices. They will not do it again because I told them this is how I prefer to be treated by respecting my time, or they'll disrespect my time again and I won't use them. I had another similar conversation with a new housekeeper that came, and it was the first time that she had come. My housekeeper for 6 years had actually decided to retire because of COVID. I had someone new, and the first time she came after I had met with her, she was coming for the first time to clean the house, and she was like 45 minutes late. And I remember coming to the door telling her, "Thank you. Actually, I thought you were just not going to come. Please do not be late in the future. Timing is important because I need to schedule when you're in my home." Again, I had told her this in the interview. I work from home. I need to have you come when I'm not recording, I'm not being interviewed, I'm not on coaching sessions. And that is a very small block of time that I can put to the side so that when they're in the home, I'm in my office doing work that can be interrupted with noise and vacuuming and people in the home. From that point on, she's been on time or early every single time. And it was a really respectful conversation. And in that case, I explained to her why it matters, that I need you to be here when you say you'll be here because I've already arranged my schedule and my time around it. I wanted to share again in recap these very specific examples and stories that actually happened in my life because I am certain I am not the only one they're happening to. And when we talk about having boundaries in our personal life and with our loved ones, we talk about boundaries in our businesses and with our clients and our employees, I think we need to have boundaries with anyone that we interact with by putting a line in the sand saying, I respect my time and I require you to respect mine. My challenge to you is, what can you do next time you feel that your time is being disrespected? Can you speak up? Can you send a text? Can you choose who you work for or who works for you based on if they're going to respect your time? And I think the answer is a resounding yes. But I'll tell you a secret. It's very hard to require others to respect your time when you do not respect your own time. So again, the work starts with yourself, making sure that you value your time, that you feel that your time is worthy and matters so that you can be a good steward of your own time. When I think of these stories, I almost feel like if we thought time was money or like a bank account, without saying something, I'm saying it's okay for these people to have their hands in my bank account and just make withdrawals, and I'm not going to say anything because it's too uncomfortable to say something because I don't know what to say. You would never do that. You would absolutely put a stop to anyone that had their hands in your bank account. And time is money. Time is actually far more valuable than money. If someone took all the money out of your bank account, you have the ability to replace it, to multiply it. Time is a sacred resource that you cannot make more of. You cannot just wish more of it. Once it's gone, it's gone. Be a good steward of your time. Speak up and have boundaries with those that work for you or you choose to work with all around you in your life, personal or professional. I have loved having you listen to this episode of Productivity Straight Talk. And I sure hope you found me sharing some very personal and real stories with you to be valuable and insightful and very empowering to tell you that you can too set boundaries around how others respect your time. No change, no change. Without taking action, nothing will change for you or your business. So perhaps the next action step for you is to head on over and take advantage of my free mini training called Take Back Your Time. That's right. I have a free mini training where in 20 minutes, I will show you how to reclaim 30 minutes back each and every day. That's right. Compounded every single day. So if you haven't already gotten your hands on this, it's completely free. Head on over to amberdelagarza.com/take back your time. And if you also have not taken a peek to check out the Leverage Lab experience, I would invite you to do so. You can do that by going to amberdelagarza.com/leverage lab. So that's my straight talk for you today. Until next time, have a productive week.